We're right around a little after 8. Are we ready to go straight into the public meeting?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
So let me call it to order. So this is now calling to order the public meeting. We finished the workshop. Let's do a pledge. Flags behind you. Stand. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I will do a roll call again. City administrators here. I see Councilmember Mansfield, Weatherby, Kyriakou is here, Demansky, and Rhodes. Councilmember Grant is excused. And that's roll call. And then the first item after that is public comment. So if you would like to make a public comment on anything except a public hearing. So we do have a public hearing. It concerns parking restrictions at the county building, which is called the Beacon Center lot. So if you want to have comments on that, just hold off. But any other thing you can make a comment on, and you got up to 3 minutes. And the first one on the list is Teresa Kraft.
Good evening. I'm here tonight as a concerned resident. I'd like to continue from where I was interrupted during the last meeting. Despite preparing a timed 3-minute statement and being the only person who signed up to speak, I was interrupted twice by a 15-second warning. Interrupting any speaker is disrespectful, and public reprimands are unnecessary. I noticed that the other speakers got to speak longer. Rapid new development is overwhelming Beacon, making it hard for our community to keep pace. While past policies eliminated storefront level apartments, the new plan of filling every green lot with housing or apartments goes way too far, and our historic buildings are rapidly disappearing. We must retain breathing room by preserving green spaces and ensuring that not every parcel is subdivided. There is a limit to what Beacon can and should absorb, and we cannot be expected to handle the entire state's housing challenges. Tell the governor, thanks, but no thanks. The Arno rep was told last week that you were a leader of the Fishkill Creek development, but now, with the economy, you're not behind it. We can't let the city flip-flop for everybody that comes asking for forgiveness. They must be held accountable to finish that project as approved. It's a disaster down there. During the August 12th Planning Board meeting, an applicant's legal team advised commenters at the public hearing to direct their concerns to the City Council. Start your clock. It's hard to talk and breathe at the same time. That's a round robin. I was one of the 2 residents who spoke. Concerns about how an annex would compromise the historic character and integrity of the structure are significant. Additionally, the developer's attorney made a misleading claim that the proposed annex to the historic 1907 telephone building won't be visible from the main street, citing a tree blocking the view. This is inaccurate. Trees lose leaves, may need pruning, could die, and don't always block views from other angles. While we pride ourselves in being designated a tree city that maintains healthy trees, we also remove them when necessary. The only permanent change would be a building that doesn't belong in its historic context. Is my time up? I see everybody looking somewhere else, nobody looks. So anyway, Beth Seelig, I hope you all watch these meetings, president of Hudson Cultural Services, a consultant for the developer, commented on the addition of the freestanding building. She said, but it also ties in terms to patterning with the car wash that's next to it, and then even the storefront window of a convenience store a little further up the street. So those additional elements did come in. So we can, correlate and get inspiration from the surrounding buildings. And then went on to say...
15 seconds.
My time's up?
15 seconds.
You have 15 seconds.
Yeah, why don't we all say it? Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Michael Garza.
Hello. I'll be brief. There we go. My name is Michael Garza. I'm the co-owner of a property at 7 Tompkins Avenue. Our property was built in 1880. We restored it lovingly from a near derelict state about 10 years ago, and it's now a warm home. This house was once part of a parcel that now includes the 45 Beekman project. So at some point it was divided. The developer at 45 Beekman had contacted us and asked their engineer to do a dye test, which we consented to. Being neighborly, we actually liked the idea of the improvement. But what we heard was from the engineer that they want to connect our sewer to the Tompkins Avenue line, which would be great, except we're below grade. Our sewer line has actually been in place for 75 years. I have a copy of the map when the sewer line was actually laid down by the city, and we're operating on a gravity system. Since we're downhill, we'd like to continue that service. The other thing is that the timing of this is such that when we were contacted and informed that they wanted to relocate our service, it was at the end of the public hearing. So once we retained an engineer and had Kurt McMillan come out and take a look at what was going to happen, the meeting became closed suddenly last week. We were told by the office that it was still open for public comment, but then as soon as we submitted our documents, we were told that it was closed. I'm just coming to appeal and ask for any kind of help, assistance, guidance on a process. When I called the planning board, I asked if there was a process. Since then, I've had to retain an attorney, and now we're looking to speak with the developer directly. But I'm bringing this to the board because it sounds like our rights to the city sewer are being taken away by the development, and that's certainly not in our interest. Also, the retaining wall in the back is scheduled to come down, which will erode our backyard. We have children in that backyard. It's going to open us up to 9D and also a large tenant and transient visitor population that will be coming through that area without a fence. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention. We won't consent to removing our service simply, and we would like to have
15
some
seconds.
kind of consideration from the engineer and attention brought to the matter. Since we were closed out, we weren't able to get our comments into the board. But I did get them into Mercedes, who I think emailed them to the board members.
Your time has elapsed.
They're not compelled to read them. Thank you.
Thanks. The other one on the list, May Jacobs. Hey.
May Jacobs, West Willis Street. I came to the meeting 2 weeks ago, and I left with a few questions, and I was going to write a letter, and I didn't, so not expecting them to be answered tonight, but first on the MTA development, I got confused about whether the city has any say over or oversight over what the MTA wants to do there, or if it's the MTA's property, they get to do whatever. So that's the first, because there was two different statements, and we're concerned about a parking garage, we're concerned about the number of units, even though I know it's less, and we're concerned that there's an expectation that people who get a home on the railroad won't have cars. And all of those are question marks. They're not necessarily true. The other question I had was what constitutes affordability? The developer or lawyer, whoever he was, who was here saying that it's no longer affordable to build commercial and he wants to build residential, or the other way around, I don't remember. No, I do remember. He wants to do all residential. What is affordability in this city now? Is there a 10% must be affordable for every unit that's now, or every project that's approved, or is it case by case? But it's a question of affordability, because the more sort of luxury, high-end apartments that are put on Main Street, the bigger the divide becomes and the less affordable things become. So I don't know where these things could be published. Maybe there's somewhere I could find them. Someone could tell me, oh, if you just look on this page on the website, you'll find it. But so it's a question about what constitutes affordability. Does that mean that a developer's not going to make as much money if they build a certain amount, or if it's just not affordable to build? What's the MTA versus Beacon's vision, planning, whatever restrictions, what's the relationship? And what was my last thing? I
Parking.
guess that's enough. Oh, parking?
Parking.
Always parking. If my spouse would ever come, he has many more questions, but he couldn't make it again. But parking garages concern us. If you just walk under the underpass at the train station, you get a little whiff of what happens when there's indoor spaces. Anyway, that's enough, but I thank you for listening to me. And if there's a way for me to find this information without coming, but reading, someone let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone in the physical public want to make a comment? This would be the time to do it. There'll be a second one later. It's okay. Come on up. Tell us who you are and where you live, Maggie.
Maggie Yarnes. Thank you all for listening to me. Two things. I have the shop on the corner of Main and Teller, Lulu May. I promise this is not a plug. You guys did the sidewalks beautifully there, and you paved Teller Avenue. The only problem is that they have added an extra step to the front of my shop. I wasn't told, and neither was the owner of the building, and for my business, it's hurting me because it's a historic building. It had one big granite step, and now it's got two steps. It's a tripping hazard, and it's discouraging customers with baby strollers for even entering the store, because now they've got two steps to go up. The second item was the development at the train station. I believe it was supposed to be just housing, but then I was reading the Highlands Current article saying that it had 15,000 square feet of retail space. I don't know if that's accurate or has been changed, but in all the years I've been living here, I know all the construction that was going on was to encourage shopping on Main Street, to build up Main Street, and I don't think that would be a compliment to Main Street. I think that would be direct competition to small businesses like mine on Main Street. And that is all. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you. It's 8,500 square feet, I think, is the proposal commercial space. Anyone else in the physical public want to make a comment? Okay. Ben, are you able to tell if there's someone online that would like to make a comment?
If you're on Zoom this evening and you'd like to make a comment, please use the raise hand option at the bottom of your screen. If you're calling in by phone, you need to press *9. Lastly, if you're joining on YouTube, you'll need to join the Zoom instead by visiting beaconny.gov and navigating to our calendar where we have a Zoom link. And as of now, we have no hands raised.
Okay. All right, let's do a public hearing. So we have one public hearing. It is concerning parking restrictions on the Dutchess County Municipal Lot. And I think I will open the hearing. And Nick, will you provide us background before we ask for any comments?
I will, Mayor. Thank you. So in the agenda packet is a local law with yellow highlighting of changes since the last public hearing was continued to tonight, as well as a detailed memo from our office. So the intent of this local law was to add a new section 211-1910 to regulate parking at the Beacon Center lot, Beacon Center parking lot, the DNV lot. This was required so that the city could then enforce parking regulations at the DNV lot. During the public hearing, council members had some questions regarding some provisions of the law that were not being changed that are found at 211-16.1 with respect to no parking zones. So the local law has been revised to address those concerns, provide some clarification with respect to the Henry Street lot, and also regulate parking at the Beacon Center lot. So if I start with the 211-16.1 existing no parking zones, the council asked us to look into each of those 5 provisions as to whether they are necessary, enforced, or if they should be modified. And as you'll see from the first one that has been, the second one that is being removed, there was a regulation that said there could be no parking within 10 feet of each side of the entrance to a theater or a hotel or church, hospital, or any other public building. In speaking with the police and the superintendent of streets, it was determined that that provision is not in existence and is not necessary. and that there are other means in New York State Building Code Fire Code that will address those provisions, but it's not necessary to have that language in the existing code. So therefore, we removed that, and as the council members noted themselves, those provisions just aren't in existence. As you'll see from our memo, the other four provisions are relevant and necessary, and we set forth in there the authorization for those and provided you with some details. For example, fire hydrants, city code says no parking within 10 feet of a fire hydrant. New York State vehicle and traffic law prohibits parking within 15 feet unless the municipality adopts a code with a different regulation. And here in Beacon, you have 10 feet. Likewise, no parking in front of a public or private driveway, and that was found to be appropriate, also mirroring state vehicle and traffic law. Similarly, with respect to no parking or crossing extending beyond the building line, parking on a bridge or elevated structure is prohibited, and also no parking on a roadway side of any vehicle stopped or parked at the curb or street, which is commonly referred to as double parking. So we took a look at those provisions of 211-16.1A and found them to be appropriate. With respect to Henry Street, we provided clarification as to the months of restrictions as well as the hours. So now that it reads that there should be no parking in the Henry Street lot from April 1st to November 30th during the hours of 6 a.m. through 5 p.m. and that unauthorized vehicles may be ticketed and removed by order of the City of Beacon Police Department. And likewise, then with respect to the Beacon Central lot, the DMV lot, it previously said 6 a.m. We corrected that to be 8 a.m. consistent with the use. And then the actual regulation itself on 211-19.10 for the Beacon Central parking lot, we provided some other clarification as shown in paragraph F. And also the council had a question about snow removal, and we spoke with Mickey as well as the police chief and clarified that the enforcement of the code is exactly that. The parking within the lots is encouraged during snow removal when there's more than 2 inches. So when there's more than 2 inches of snow accumulated, you cannot park on the streets, and that then forces cars to go into the parking lots. And the parking is permitted when there's more than 2 inches of snow in the parking lots, and the DPW and the police department have a procedure in place to then clearing the lots out. They'll patrol it and clear out the lots as necessary, and should a car be there or a number of cars be there longer than necessary or interfere, they'll then post the parking lot, which the individuals then have 24 hours to move their cars. Also, as a car cannot be parked for more than 24 hours in the same position, that also serves as another means. So from a practical standpoint, the city council's concern was, were we doing something differently than what the code permitted? No. Cars are permitted to park on the streets except when the snow exceeds 2 inches. They then need to park off-street, which is on their driveways, or in a private lot, or in the public lot, and then they need to be removed from a public lot when it's posted that it needs to be cleared. That, Mayor, is a brief overview of the local law that's on for a public hearing tonight and the changes made since the last meeting.
And Mayor, the context of this is that we had emails and calls from the farmers market because they've had 1 or 2 cars that don't move, and then it becomes a situation where the cars are trying to get out while the market is happening. And in going back, the police chief and I figured out that we actually don't have anything in the code that allows us to enforce the parking. So that's where this came out of. I just wanted to raise that again because we talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so I will open the public hearing on this, and again, it concerns our parking laws and making them applicable to the DMV lot. Would anyone like to make a comment on this? Anyone online, Ben?
None online.
So I'm not shocked that there isn't public comment on this, but I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
So Molly and Pam, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great. Let's do reports. Who wants to start? Take your pick. I'll start. Okay, George, and then we'll go around.
Good evening.
I've already spoken with Chris and briefly to the mayor about this, but I spoke with some constituents, as I believe some of my fellow council people have as well, about establishing a position of a housing coordinator who would advocate for tenant rights and provide information about legal services. This position would also be looking into grants and funding from state and federal sources to assist in our affordability effort. On the surface, I believe this proposal has some merit and is worth discussing the possibility of including in our future budgets. I would propose first to look into the impact that such a position has had on both Hudson and Kingston, who both have established this role in their city administrations. I understand the suggestions would bring unintended expenses, but I believe that it could possibly prove invaluable in the future. So I look forward to speaking with the fellow council people and the administration regarding this. Thank you.
Okay.
I don't have much to report other than living off of 52 with the milling and paving on Teller. It looks wonderful. But I would say you may want to avoid Route 52 until that milling and paving is done, because there's a lot of work happening at a lot of intersections. And also, it's crazy to say, but school starts, I think, next week. Not next week, in 2 weeks, after we meet next. So just be ready that students will be out on new sidewalks, old sidewalks, walking on the side of the road. So just have, as usual, I've been saying all year, a lot of patience and enjoy this nice weather. Thank you.
Great. Jeff?
Sure, thanks. On the theme of public comment, there's a often overlooked but a significant opportunity right now for people to make public comment on the New York State Draft Energy Plan. It was released in draft form a couple of weeks ago. There's a virtual hearing kicking off tomorrow. There's another virtual hearing on September 30th. And then there are a number of in-person around the state public hearings where you can speak to the State Energy Board and make comments about this energy plan. It's a very significant time for New York State's energy grid. Significant changes about what's happening in terms of different projects, transmission lines, the incorporation of battery power. There was interesting reports out about reliability and the movement towards electrification and what it's having on our grid. So I definitely encourage people to pay attention to that. This will also have personal impact on my availability since I'm supporting those public hearings. So I will be up in Buffalo on September 3rd for that public hearing, and so have to travel the night before most likely, so will likely not be able to attend council that night. And in Long Island, there's one on September 29th out in Stony Brook, so I'll be there. But for local relevance, there's a meeting on September 16th that's at Dutchess County Community College up in Poughkeepsie. So that's our local opportunity for an in-person hearing on the state energy plan. And I really do encourage people to attend virtually or in person and pay attention to what's happening with the energy plan.
Thanks, Jeff, and thanks for making those public hearings happen as well. I'll echo George in wanting to kind of dive into the Housing Justice Coordinator and whether it is a good fit for our budget coming up, particularly kind of before we get into the meat of it. I know that Chris and Lee are already working hard, as they always do this time of year and over the summer, on a budget, and so understanding what, if anything, we want to do this year and what we're trying to solve for, and kind of knowing that there might be some great opportunity here, and wanting to make sure that whatever we come up with is a good fit for Beacon. I will also be hosting office hours. I had originally thought they were going to be this coming Friday, but actually I've moved them till August 29th, the following Friday, from 4 to 6 p.m. at Pole Hill Park, or if for any reason the weather does not cooperate, I'll be in Bank Square Coffee House, and I'll pass it to you, Lee.
Thank you. I'll be quick. I had the opportunity to read the final draft report on the rail trail and had a call on it. I think it's looking pretty good. And that's all I'll add. Chris?
Thank you, Pam, and everyone on Route 52 for your incredible patience. We have finished paving Teller as of last Friday. We are milling and paving Fishkill Avenue this week, so the milling happened today. Tomorrow, between Double D's Auto and the dog park will be doing the binder course, which is the bottom course, and then Wednesday, if weather permits, we'll be doing the top course. So we will be paved to the dog park by hopefully Wednesday. Then we're also continuing our water and sewer work on the further part of Fishkill Avenue. Once that's done, we're going to go back and pave the entire thing. So by the end of the year, if we can, we're going to have the whole thing paved out. We know that striping and signs and crosswalks still need to be done, so stay tuned, that's coming in September.
Can I ask a clarifying question, Chris? Are there points when 52 is totally closed during this week, or is it single lane as it's been for several weeks?
It will be closed when the top course is paved over.
Great, thank you.
It kind of depends. They have been able at some points to close one lane and pave it and then go to the other lane. But I think it's likely you're going to have sections that are closed for a brief time on Wednesday.
Great, thank you.
Annual milling and paving. In addition to doing this, we have a list of streets that include Woodnith Drive, Sargent Avenue, parts of Catherine, Odell Street, Mountain Lane, Fowler Street, and Fulton Avenue, as well as the Van Nydek lot. All of those are going to start being milled on Wednesday through Thursday and Friday, and then a week from Friday we will start repaving those. So we're going to have that schedule up on our website shortly. And again, thanks for your patience. We have a lot of work going. I want to congratulate our Recreation Department and in particular Mark Price for the successful completion of the South Avenue Rehabilitation Park, a $900,000 facelift to South Avenue Park. We did the ribbon cutting on the 8th of August, and thank you to the council members who attended. And again, if you haven't been over to the park, you have to go see the new mural on the new bathroom. Camp finished up on Friday. I also want to thank our rec department for the expansion of our camp this year. We went from 5 weeks to 6 weeks. Very successful season. So thanks to the rec staff, and in particular Linda Richards, who's our camp director and just an amazing resource. We also, in the last 2 weeks, launched an e-waste program, so we now have free collection of all types of computers and audio and video devices for free. It does not cost the city anything. We're in partnership with a company called eWaste, and they are benefiting from manufacturer funds that have been put aside due to a state law. And then finally, the council has asked for a housing resource page, and we hope to launch that by the next meeting. Ben has been working on it. We're fairly far along on it, and we hope to have that by early September. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, I too went to the South Avenue Park ribbon cutting, and it is very cool. So, and I do also thank Mark Price for all that work. Okay, let's do our resolutions. We've got a half dozen, or 5. So the first 2 are both appointments. One is appointing Ricardo Brown to the position of motor equipment operator. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion?
Second.
Molly and George. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. The second one is Connor Gould, and also to the position of motor equipment operator. I'm looking for a motion and a second.
Motion?
Second.
So that's Molly and George. Any discussion on Connor? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. The third one is an authorization for the city administrator to execute an agreement with Scape Tech Landscape Technology, and they are being awarded the winning bid for the 2025 accessible curb ramps project. Can I get a motion and a second on that?
Motion.
Second.
So Pam and Molly. Any discussion? Okay. Having just had that discussion about an hour ago, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And then we need to set a public hearing for the franchise renewal agreement. This would be set for
September 15th.
September 15th?
15th.
All right, so that would be Monday, September 15th. I need a motion and a second to set that public hearing.
Motion?
Second.
So that's Molly and Jeff. Any discussion? And again, this is just set in the public hearing.
Yeah, I'll just name, as Nick did really well, that this is not a hearing, we're not going to get into the details of the contract, but this is just to understand the experience of those who have been using Cablevision up until now, so we can make sure that information is part of our contract and questions we have from there. So hope people share who want to.
All right, great, thank you. All in favor of setting that public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. And then the last one is we've got a local law concerning parking restrictions for the Beacon Center, also known as the DMV lot. Can I get a motion and a second for that?
Motion.
Second.
So that was Pam and George. Any discussion that we didn't have in workshop? Or
Thank
no,
you for
further?
adding in my areas that I was confused about.
No problem at all. Any other discussion? Okay, so all in favor of adopting that law, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I now need a motion and a second for the minutes of August 4th.
Motion.
So that's
Second.
Molly and George. Any changes, additions, corrections, or other help with the minutes?
They all looked groovy to me.
All right, so all in favor of approving the groovy August 4th minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. So this is the second opportunity for public comment. If you did not make a comment in the first opportunity, you have an opportunity to do so now. Anyone in the physical audience want to make a comment? And seeing none, anyone in the online audience, Ben, want to make a comment who did not do so earlier?
None online, Mayor.
All right, so I just want to announce the next council meeting. It will be a workshop and a meeting. It will take place on Tuesday, September 2nd, beginning at 7 for the workshop and then 7:45-ish for the council meeting. Anything else before we go into executive session from the council? I think we're good. All right, so I'd like a motion to go into executive session to discuss contracts, to conduct no further business, and to adjourn once we come out.
Motion.
Second.
So that's Molly and Pam. The motion was to go into executive session to discuss contracts, to come out and immediately adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you all.
Thank you, Nick.
All right.
Thank you. I'll join you in the executive session. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Nick.
Recording